Alright, now on to topic number 2 of the introduction. We have sovereignty, authority, and power. Before we cover this, we have to know the basic definition of a state. States are basically entities that control what happens in their border. They control laws and rules. Sovereignty is the ability to carry out actions within borders without interference from outside. For example, for existence, maybe New York passing a gay marriage bill. Lack of sovereignty equals generally leads to lack of autonomy, and that leads to higher corruption. And here's a famous picture. You get the point. And another major idea before we actually get into deeper thinking is institutions and their stable, long-lasting organizations that help turn ideas into policies. Such examples are legislatures, political parties, judicial systems, or even bureaucracies. I don't know, let's get deeper into things. States, nations, and regimes. We already know what states is. How about nations? Nations are basically a group of people bounded by political identity. You've already heard the term nationalism, and basically, a nation is, I feel like I belong in this culture or in this area and stuff. It's sort of like Britain, Scotland, Iceland, you get the point. Nationalism empowered the conflicts in Kosovo and more generally Yugoslavia. So Yugoslavia was pretty much broke by nationalism and ethnocentricity and all that, a bunch of ethnic conflicts. Regimes are basically rules that a state sets and follow, and these rules carry over time. Regimes are technically, regimes are pretty much like a stereotype. I guess you could call it a stereotype when used in common talk. It's more like we refer to authoritarian governments as like regimes or something, but regimes are just basically rules. There are a couple of groups. There are the democracies, which follow the will of the people. There are a few systems of democracy. There's the parliamentary system, which basically, the legislature has all the power, and pretty much does everything. The power with this, there's a extremely strong party discipline, and that sort of erodes some of the theoretical model on lawmaking. So instead of the legislature bringing up topics, the cabinet tends to bring up the legislation. There's no separation between the legislative branch and the executive branch. The parliament elects the prime minister. The executive branch is also split in two. There's the head of state and the head of government. The head of state is always the symbolic leader. The head of government is the leader of the actual government. In the United States, the president is both the head of state and the head of government. And then there's the presidential system. The head of state is the head of government. The president is directly elected, and there are checks and balances between the three branches, or however many branches there are. The separation of power, however, can hinder how quick legislation can be passed and acted. And then there's a semi-presidential system where the president and prime minister coexist and powers vary by country. And such examples are Russia, France, and India. In the next video, we will... and then there are also a few other types we'll cover in the next video. So see you then.